Welcome to The Explainer. Let's jump right in, guys. Today, we are exposing a massive and frankly kind of hidden vulnerability in our global digital infrastructure, and it's one that is actively reshaping international security as we speak. We all tend to think of the cloud as this intangible, borderless utility, right? Like electricity or water. You just turn the tap, and it's there. But what happens when the cloud actually becomes a geopolitical weapon?
Just imagine waking up tomorrow, logging on, and finding out your organization's entire digital backbone is just gone, completely disabled. And I don't mean a ransomware attack or some rogue hacker. I mean shut down by a remote policy decision made thousands of miles away, all because your cloud vendor was legally forced to comply with a foreign government's order. I know, it sounds exactly like the plot of a geopolitical thriller, but as our source materials show us, this is a very modern, very real risk.
And look, this absolutely isn't theoretical. Just ask Nicolas Guillot, a French judge at the International Criminal Court. When the U.S. imposed sanctions related to the ICC's activities, Judge Guillot literally woke up banished from the digital world. He lost access to Expedia. He actually had to call hotels to pay in cash. He couldn't even book a train in his own hometown. He said the whole absurd situation felt like being sent back to the 1990s. Or take the Indian company Naira Energy. They got cut off from Microsoft Teams literally overnight due to sanctions. No servers crashed, nothing technical failed, it was just a conscious, remote flip of a switch. So to really understand why organizations can't just easily pivot out of harm's way when this happens, we have to talk about data gravity. Basically, when massive amounts of your data pile up with one specific cloud vendor, it gets incredibly complex and wildly expensive to move. You get stuck in vendor lock-in. You can't just casually pack up your digital bags and move to a new provider over the weekend, just because the geopolitical temperature is rising.
So, we're finding ourselves in the middle of this massive paradigm shift. The original utopian promise of the public cloud was that it would be neutral, completely borderless, and always on. But that vision has violently crashed into the reality of modern geopolitics. Extraterritorial laws, instant disruptions, global sanctions, these are the new rule makers. The cloud isn't just IT infrastructure anymore, it's a powerful geopolitical lever.
Section 1. The laws behind the disruption. Let's take a quick look at the specific legal mechanisms that actually allow a government to force these tech giants to pull the plug.
The legal landscape has fundamentally shifted over the last few decades. Back in 1986, we had the Stored Communications Act, which was written way before anyone even knew what a cloud was. Fast forward to 2013, and the FBI wanted data stored on a Microsoft server in Ireland for a case. Microsoft pushed back, arguing the data wasn't physically in the U.S. Well, that legal showdown led directly to the 2018 U.S. Cloud Act. And this is pivotal, guys. This act firmly dictates that U.S. authorities can compel data from U.S.-based tech companies, regardless of where in the world those server racks are actually sitting. Combine the Cloud Act with heavy-hitting tools like the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, specifically Section 702, and OFAC sanctions, and you have a potent mix. These laws legally mandate that U.S. companies and their overseas subsidiaries absolutely must block access for sanctioned individuals or entities globally. So if a provider is headquartered in the U.S., they have to comply with U.S. law, even if their client is in Europe or Asia. Bottom line, the U.S. government can order a vendor to pull the plug on your critical operations, no matter where your office is located.
Which brings us to Section 2, Europe's exposed defense flank. Let's look at a massive real-world scenario to see how this impacts national security. There's this fascinating audit by the Future of Technology Institute. They dug into open-source contracting data to look at European defense ministries and their reliance on foreign cloud providers. And what they found, hiding in plain sight right there in the open procurement databases, is honestly pretty alarming for Europe's digital sovereignty. The crucial takeaway here is the number 16. Out of 28 EU national defense agencies analyzed, 16 are at high risk to a potential U.S. kill switch. Think about that for a second. The literal backbone of a sovereign nation's military and security systems relies heavily on tech that could be legally disabled by a U.S. provider if the U.S. government ordered it. And as you can see, almost the entirety of Europe's critical defense infrastructure is overwhelmingly tied to just 3 U.S.-based hyperscalers. Microsoft alone has contracts with 19 of these agencies. Google and Oracle are working with 4 each. When your country's military modernization relies on a foreign vendor, you aren't just buying software. You are effectively outsourcing a significant chunk of your operational sovereignty. Now, if you're wondering what this actually looks like when things go wrong in a hot conflict, we have a very grave recent example. The severe danger of this dependency became crystal clear when US-based Maxar Technologies restricted Ukraine's access to key satellite imagery. This happened right when the US government paused intelligence sharing. Ukrainian officers described this sudden shutoff as a bitter blow that severely hampered their drone pilots during a critical life-or-death window. That is a literal kill switch, activated on a battlefield.
And this absolutely isn't an isolated incident. We've seen Apple disable app access in Crimea, we've seen Adobe completely cut off the Creative Cloud suite in Venezuela, and BMW restrict dealership diagnostic software in Russia. It's a widespread geopolitical tool, and it's being utilized globally. We aren't just talking about losing access to a few old files, we're talking about the complete operational halt of essential software. Section 3. The Sovereign Cloud Illusion. At this point, you might be asking, wait, aren't nations fixing this by just building local servers? Well, yes and no. As this quote so sharply points out, many experts are calling these local offerings sovereignty washing. Because here's the reality. Even if a US company builds a beautiful, state-of-the-art server right in the middle of Paris or Berlin and staffs it entirely with European citizens, that parent company is still legally accountable to US courts, the Cloud Act, and US sanctions. Legal ownership trumps physical location every single time. So a foreign order can still force that provider to turn off your key functions.
You might say, okay, we'll just unplug the military cloud from the public internet entirely. Create what's known as an air-gapped system. But even then, they aren't completely safe. They still absolutely rely on the US vendor for critical security patches and software updates. If a sanction freezes those updates, that critical infrastructure is instantly left fatally vulnerable to hackers and adversaries. You might be unplugged, but man, you are still heavily dependent. Section 4. Taking back digital control. So the big question, how do businesses and governments actually regain their independence here? The ISE Square offers some absolutely crucial practical advice. Their number one tip? Implement a formal cloud exit strategy long before you ever actually need it. You can't just cross your fingers and hope for the best. You need to leverage automation rather than slow manual checks to really understand your dependencies. Definitely don't rely on the promise of free egress traffic to save you. And most importantly, adopt multi-cloud and hybrid approaches. Work with expert architects so that if geopolitical winds suddenly change direction, you aren't completely trapped. Ultimately, the solution that experts and governments are heavily pointing toward is a shift to a true sovereign cloud. Not just local servers, but local everything. The data, the physical servers, and, crucially, the legal ownership of the provider all must reside under the exact same domestic jurisdiction. That is the only way to genuinely protect your national and organizational security against the massive risk of a foreign government just pulling the plug on your essential operations. So, I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought today. In a world where the cloud has evolved from a simple, neutral utility into a potent geopolitical weapon, are you absolutely sure who holds the kill switch to your organization? Take a hard look at your digital dependencies, because in today's landscape, your infrastructure is your strategy. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the systems you rely on.